Imagine two people. Both earn the same salary. Both have similar jobs. Both live in the same city. And both work hard every single day. But one of them has $20,000 saved. The other has almost nothing. Now here's the strange part. The person with $20,000 isn't rich. They can't retire. They don't own a mansion. They don't fly around in private jets. Yet their life feels completely different. They sleep better, stress less, make better decisions, and somehow seem to move forward faster financially. Why? What is so special about $20,000? Why does this number change so much? And why do many people say that building the first $20,000 is actually harder than building the next $100,000? Let's find out. Most people think wealth changes your life only when you become rich. Maybe when you make six figures. Maybe when you hit $1 million. Maybe when you can quit your job. But that's not how money works. The biggest changes usually happen much earlier. The problem is that most people look at money the wrong way. They think money only buys things: cars, phones, houses, vacations. But money does something far more important. Money buys options, and options change everything. Unfortunately, many people never experience this because they spend every dollar they earn. A raise comes in, a new expense appears, a bonus arrives, a bigger purchase follows. The result? Their income increases, but their freedom doesn't. Think about the average person. A surprise medical bill arrives. Panic. The car needs repairs. Panic. The company announces layoffs. Panic. Why? Because every problem feels like a threat. Not because the problem itself is huge, but because there is no financial cushion. Psychologists call this scarcity thinking. When resources feel limited, the brain focuses on immediate survival. Long-term thinking becomes harder. Decision-making becomes worse. People become more emotional with money. And this creates a dangerous cycle. Stress leads to poor decisions. Poor decisions create more stress. More stress leads to even worse decisions. It's like trying to drive through heavy fog. You can move forward, but it's difficult to see what's ahead. Now imagine something different. You open your banking app, and instead of seeing a few $100s, you see $20,000. Suddenly, life feels different. Not because you're rich, because you're protected. Your car breaks down? You can handle it. Unexpected bill? You can handle it. Temporary job loss? You have time. And time is one of the most valuable things money can buy. This is where it gets really interesting. The biggest benefit of $20,000 isn't financial. It's psychological. Because your brain starts operating differently. You stop making decisions out of fear and start making them from a position of strength. Let's use a simple example. Imagine you're underwater, and someone gives you a few seconds of air. That air doesn't solve every problem, but it gives you space to think. Money works the same way. Most people are financially holding their breath. Every bill matters. Every expense hurts. Every mistake feels catastrophic. But once you have financial breathing room, everything changes. You stop reacting. You start planning. And planning is where wealth begins. Here's what most people don't realize. Money creates confidence. Not fake confidence, real confidence. The kind that comes from knowing you'll be okay. Let's say you hate your job. Without savings, quitting feels impossible. You're trapped. But with $20,000, you suddenly have options. You can search for better opportunities. You can negotiate harder. You can take calculated risks. The money didn't change your skills. It changed your confidence. And confidence often creates better outcomes. Now here's something fascinating. The first $20,000 is usually the hardest. Not because the number is huge,
because of who you must become to reach it. Think about it. To save $20,000, you need discipline, patience, consistency, delayed gratification. You need to spend less than you earn, repeatedly, for a long time. That's difficult. And that's why reaching $20,000 isn't just about money. It's proof that you've developed valuable financial habits. And those habits are often worth more than the money itself.
Here's what most people have heard about compound interest, but fewer people understand compound behavior. Let's imagine two people. Sarah saves nothing. Mike saves consistently. At first, the difference is small, a few $100s, then a few thousand. Nothing dramatic. But eventually, Mike reaches $20,000. Now something changes. Saving feels normal. His identity changes. He sees himself as someone who manages money well, and that mindset starts influencing other areas of his life. He becomes more intentional, more patient, more strategic. The money grows, but so does the person. Here's what most people don't realize. Opportunities often cost money, not because opportunities are expensive, because preparation matters. Imagine a great business idea appears, or a dream job opens up in another city, or a chance to learn a valuable skill. People with no savings often can't act, not because they lack talent, because they lack flexibility. Meanwhile, someone with $20,000 has choices, and choices create opportunities. That's one reason wealthy people often appear lucky. They're simply prepared when opportunities arrive. This is where everything changes even more. Once you have savings, you stop focusing only on protection. You start focusing on growth. The conversation changes from "how do I survive" to "how do I build wealth?" That's a completely different question, and it leads to completely different decisions. Instead of worrying about next month, you begin thinking about the next decade. You start learning about investing, assets, business ownership, long-term wealth building, and that's where the real transformation begins. People often think money changes people, but that's only partially true. Money reveals people. If someone is impatient before they have money, they'll often be impatient after they get it. If someone lacks discipline before they build savings, they'll struggle afterward too. The real secret isn't the $20,000. It's the habits that created it. Because those habits can build $50,000, then $100,000, then much more. The first milestone teaches the skill. The future milestones simply reward it. So, what should you do? First, stop focusing on getting rich overnight. That's not the goal. The goal is stability. Second, build an emergency fund before worrying about complicated investments. Third, automate your savings. Make the process automatic. Fourth, focus on consistency rather than perfection. Small amounts invested regularly beat occasional bursts of motivation. And finally, remember that the first $20,000 isn't just a financial goal. It's a personal development goal. The habits you build along the way are the real reward. At the beginning of this video, we talked about two people. Same salary, same city, same opportunities. But one had $20,000 saved. The other didn't. The difference wasn't luxury. The difference wasn't status. The difference was freedom. One person was constantly reacting to life. The other had room to respond. And that's what money really does. It creates space. Space to think. Space to plan. Space to grow. That's why everything changes after $20,000. Not because you're rich, but because for the first time, your money starts giving you something far more valuable than things. It gives you options.